Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Dare Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Dare Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Kunja Bihari Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Varivajagacharya Ashtottara Shatashi Srimad Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Ki Jai, Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Seventh Canto, Chapter 15, Instructions for Civilized Human Beings, Text 54. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Agni Suryo Diva Pranaha Shuklo Raktotaram Swarat Vishwo Ta Taijasaha Pragyas Turyo Atma Samanvayat Agni Suryo Diva Prana Shuklo Rakto Taram Swarat Vishwota Taijasa Pragyas Tuya Atma Samanvayat Agnisurya Diva Prahana Shuklorakto Taram Swarat Vishwota Taijasa Pragyas Tuya Atma Samanvayat Agni Surya Diva Prana Shuklorakto Taram Swarat Vishwanta Taijasa Pragyas Tuya Atma Samanvayat Agni, fire. Surya, sun. Diva, day. Prana, the end of the day. Shuklaha, the bright fortnight of the moon. Raka, the full moon at the end of the Shukla Paksha. Uttaram, the period when the sun passes to the north. Swarat, the supreme Brahman or Lord Brahma. Vishwaha, gross designation. Atta, Brahmaloka, the ultimate and material enjoyment. Taijasaha, subtle designation. Pragyaha, the witness and the causal designation. Turyaha, transcendental. Atma, the soul. Samanvayat, as a natural consequence. Translation, Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. On his path of ascent, the progressive living entity enters the different worlds of fire, the sun, the day, the end of the day, the bright fortnight, the full moon, and the passing of the sun in the north, along with their presiding demigods. When he enters Brahmaloka, he enjoys life for many millions of years. And finally, his material designation comes to an end. He then comes to a subtle designation from which he attains the causal designation, witnessing all previous states. Upon the annihilation of this causal state, he attains his pure state, in which he identifies with the Supersoul. In this way, the living entity becomes transcendental. All right, so next. Devayanam madhyam prahor bhutva bhutvanu purvashaha atmayajya prashantatma hyatmasto na nivartate. This gradual process of elevation for self-realization is meant for those who are truly aware of the absolute truth. After repeated birth on this path, which is known as Devayana, one attains these consecutive stages. One who is completely free from all material desires, being situated in the self, need not traverse the path of repeated birth and death. Next, even though situated in a material body, one who is fully aware of the paths known as Pritriyana and Devayana, and who thus opens his eyes in terms of Vedic knowledge, is never bewildered in this material world. Purport. Acharyavan Purusho Veda. One who is guided by the bona fide spiritual master knows everything as stated in the Vedas, which set forth the standard of infallible knowledge. As recommended in Bhagavad Gita, Acharya Pasanam, one must approach the Acharya for real knowledge. Tadvigyartam sa gurum eva bigacchit. One must approach the Acharya, for then one will receive perfect knowledge. When guided by the spiritual master, one attains the ultimate goal of life. Om Eganativarandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshuvadmilitam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukam Karitivachalam Pangam Langaite Girim Yat Kripatamaham Bande Shri Gunandinitaranam Vancha Kapladabhishcha Kripa Sindhubevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. When Srila Prabhupada and one of his disciples, Tamal Krishna Goswami, when they were one time exiting a boat in Mayapur, Srila Prabhupada accepted the help of Tamal Krishna Goswami, because Maharaj, he held out his hand, and then Prabhupada grabbed his hand, and then he was helped off the boat. And then when Srila Prabhupada was on the land, he grabbed the Swami's arm and he just pushed it away, like. And then Tamal Krishna Goswami was wondering, why did Prabhupada do that? It's kind of, because it's like if I was to help Sureshwar off a boat, and then Sureshwar comes off a boat, and then all of a sudden Sureshwar pushes my hand away, like he's angry or something. So Maharaj was wondering, why did Prabhupada do that? And then Srila Prabhupada explained. He said that, yes, this is just like the Mayavadis, the impersonalists, that they worship the Guru, they worship God, specifically in this particular case. They accept a Guru, but then when they attain perfection, or when they attain what they want, then they just cast the Guru away. And then Srila Prabhupada said, this isn't our process. Our process is that we accept the Guru in the beginning of our spiritual life. And initiation, we should always remember, means beginning. We accept the Guru at initiation, formally. And it's not that at a particular point when we get what we want, whatever that may be, that's another thing. Krishna, he's like Chintamani, he wish-fulfilling. As Srila Prabhupada writes in the Sri Upanishad, I always like this, but Krishna is the self-sufficient philosopher fulfilling everyone's desires since time immemorial. So it's not that we get what we want, whatever that may be. because again, Krishna will fulfill. He tends to fulfill, or he does fulfill the desires of his devotees. So if we don't want love of Krishna, then we may get something else. But once we fulfill those desires, it's not that we just cast the guru away, but we're always in the role of a humble disciple with the guru. About initiation being the beginning, I remember with my spiritual master, he on one particular occasion, I remember I was with him for like a weekend, and he was asking me when I got initiated, what year I got initiated. And then I told him, and he said, "Oh, okay, that means you are 10 years old." Means at the time of initiation, you take your spiritual birth. So he was like, "Oh, that means you're 10 years old." And I was thinking about that, and he said it a number of times within that weekend. "Oh, you're 10 years old. You're 10 years old," which was interesting. I thought about it, and And for a disciple, they do go through such stages. There's infancy. Is that it? There's infancy, when a child is first born. In other words, when they take initiation. And then there's childhood, and there's adolescence. Right? Adolescence. Yeah, adolescence. And then there's adulthood, and then there's, them becoming older. Old age, old disciple. So like this, a disciple goes through different stages in their spiritual life. Sometimes disciples, when they reach the adolescent stage, they tend to rebel. That happens sometimes. The disciple rebels against the guru for whatever reasons. So the Acharya, or the guru, is one who is able to guide the disciple. And the main guidance of the disciple, the main business that the guru has is specifically to educate the disciple in terms of spiritual knowledge, not to help them with their marriage problems or finance problems or whatever other problems, but the main thing is to give spiritual knowledge. So therefore the Acharya has to be, the spiritual master has to be knowledgeable, learned in scripture. But one thing is becoming educated in spiritual knowledge, as a disciple should. It means a disciple should read regularly, listen to lectures regularly, and also ask questions regularly. As we mentioned some time ago, it's very easy to listen to a lot of lectures, but those lectures are coming through the filter of our mind and our intellect, which may not be absolutely pure. And therefore, the conclusion we get from those particular lectures may not be pure or right. And therefore, our actions may not be right based on those conclusions, because you act a certain way based on conviction. So therefore, questions are very important as well. Questions to the spiritual master. Am I understanding this right? And to have a spiritual master means we accept them as superior to us, superior in the sense of having a clear idea of Krishna consciousness, a clear idea how to guide us in our spiritual life. And therefore we ask questions with the idea
of getting a clear idea ourselves and moving in the right direction. And if we're not ready to accept the idea, or at least consider it in a humble way, there's no real need to ask. Better just be puffed up and figure it out yourself. No, there's no real need to ask. Like someone told me recently, there was a devotee. It was a small thing, but he had some Ganga water that was apparently kind of spoiling or whatever. And he asked one devotee, "Oh, what should I do with it? Should I just like drink it, or should I put it on my head, or should I sprinkle on the heads of the devotees? What should I do with it?" And the devotee just said, "Oh, you could just go put it in that tree, pour it on the tree." And then the devotees who got that advice, he's like, "Oh, well, I don't really want to, do that." And then it's like, "Well, why are you asking me? Like, just figure it out then. If you don't, if you're not so serious to accept my conclusion, why are you asking?" Now, of course, that doesn't mean we cast away our intelligence and not think for ourselves and just accept whatever we hear. But we should inquire, and then if we don't understand, we could ask more questions to try to get a clear idea. So yeah, one is to listen to lectures, to read, to study, and then the second thing is in relation to practically applying that knowledge. How do we practically apply that knowledge that we hear or read in books? And that's when it becomes a little more complicated. Just like the principle of yukta vairagya. It's a very, very challenging and confusing and bewildering principle, and many times in devotees' lives. Yukta vairagya. Then you say, well, what does that mean? Literally, yukta vairagya, you have to know what that term means. Does anyone want to say what that term means? I know somebody knows here. Yeah, yukta vairagya means engaging things that are ordinarily considered material in Krishna's service. So, for example, which we'll get into a little bit. Traditionally, brahmacharis, sannyasis, they would walk from village to village. Wouldn't use a car. No cars allowed. They wouldn't use a car, what to speak of have their own car. That's like completely out of the question. Like one fall down is to use a car, and even worse fall down is to have your own car. So they would walk from village to village, and they would not sleep in hotel or a big temple, or what to speak of a worldly person's home. Worldly people means someone who is engaged with money and family and so on. And they would just, eat whatever they begged from different homes. And this way they would live as renunciates. I think sometimes people think it's hard to be renunciates these days. But you can imagine doing something like that, Sometimes we have a hard... Would you like to become a monk in the ashram? No, too difficult. Would you like to walk from village to village and sleep under trees and beg your food? Oh, no, definitely not. But that's what they would do. And in this way, they were just really getting ready to just go back to Godhead. And now, yeah. So... but then, like Madhavendra Puri, we have on our own line also. We have Madhavendra Puri. If we read in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, he was traveling from village to village as a sannyasi, and just really depending on whoever would help, begging here and there for his food and everything. But then some time passed, and specifically the person who really emphasized and really changed how Vaishnavas and how sannyasis and brahmacharis would operate is our own Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. I mean, in the whole history of Vaishnavism, he alone, and no one else really, decided that we're going to take this Yukta Vairagya principle. I don't know if this is a saying. We're going to take it to the moon. I don't think it's... Is that a saying? We just made it up. We're going to really go with this. Not only we're going to drive around in cars, we're going to wear coats made in London and shoes made in London. We are going to have our own steamship. We're going to build opulent temples in which all the renunciates will live. We will meet with all the richest and most important persons of Bengal and all over India. And we're going to accept a lot of disciples. And this was not done ever in history until Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Now we see historically that it did some devotees had a hard time processing this, digesting such things. For example, one time Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, there was 2 sannyasis. He had 18 sannyasis, by the way. He had thousands of disciples, but only 18 people he initiated into sannyas. So 2 sannyasis, they were in front of a door, and they were yelling at each other. We've seen these things before. About sannyasis, but we said brahmacharis. They're yelling at each other. And they didn't know Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was there. And you could imagine your guru there, like you're yelling at each other. And all of a sudden, you look over and your guru's there. I mean, that's like really embarrassing. You know, other people could see it fine, but your guru, oh no. So then they look over and they see Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And then they just stop, and then they fall to the ground. They offer their obeisances. And they say, I'm so sorry. We're sorry we did this. And then Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says, no, it's not your fault. It's actually my fault. He said, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he took Maharajas and made them into beggars. For example, Rupa Goswami, all these very influential persons in society, he took them and he made them into beggars, the Goswamis of Vrindavan. And he said, but me, I took beggars and I made them into Maharajas. So he took persons, made them into Swamis. And looking at Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's institution, the Gaudiya Math, historically we see that there were a lot of issues dealing with this Yukta Vairagya principle. Money, buildings, positions, in an organization. I mean, you're walking around from village to village living under trees. I don't think there's much fighting over positions, right? Who's going to get this position? Who's going to get that position? So in this way, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he left early. That's what Srila Prabhupada said. Our Srila Prabhupada, he said that my guru left early. Means he left this world early. Because he was seeing all of this and was unhappy with it. So when we look at the Yukta Vairagya principle in our own life, there is a lot of opportunity to fail. There's a lot of opportunity to become distracted, to become bewildered by trying to use material things in Krishna's service.
But still, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he introduced this. And Srila Prabhupada, he even took it further, traveling all over the world. And establishing temples over the world, not just in India. So therefore, we need very careful, we need to be very honest and very careful in this, following this principle. And therefore we need the guru. That's another reason we need the guru, a guru. Because the guru will teach us what we should do and what we should not do in terms of yukta vairagya. If we ask the guru, should I be doing this, should I be doing that? And the guru will say, no, it's a bad idea. You say, okay. and then you're saved. And if we are, and therefore one should not accept a guru like Srila Prabhupada said, is like a fashion, like he keeps some dog or something. Oh, look how cute my dog is. Like people, they walk down the street. Everybody goes, oh, so cute. Look there, let me. Like the other day at the Sunday feast, when the number of children, they came out with the cake. I was a little surprised, actually. I don't remember seeing anything like that, but they came out with the cake, and then so many people in the audience at the Sunday feast said, oh, like quite a few people. I was like, okay, that's interesting. For Dravida people to come with the cake. So we don't accept a guru to say, oh, look how wonderful my guru is. He's so great and qualified and knowledgeable and happy and powerful. And but it's just kind of like a fashion, like, oh, I'm a disciple of so-and-so. But we accept a guru to understanding that the guru is superior to us as a spiritual master, and specifically for guidance. This person's guiding me in my life. And he's guiding me in Krishna consciousness, how to spread Krishna consciousness, and how to, he's teaching how to become Krishna conscious. And if one very carefully follows the guru, gradually they will be guided, they will attain the ultimate goal of life. And people who are not guided by the guru, and we'd be surprised in even very simple things. Maybe not by the Diksha Guru, because they're surprised how much we need guidance even just in very simple things. In our day-to-day life and our Krishna consciousness need to be guided, and we need to have faith. And therefore it's very important that devotees associate with people who have faith in Srila Prabhupada, who have faith in their guru, have faith in the guru principle, who by guru. And it's very clear who has faith in guru. Does have faith, it's very clear. I was on this Zoom call recently. People do, I guess, but I don't. Anyways, if anybody was wondering, you could put that in your important fact file. It's not an important fact at all. Devotee was speaking, and I was just so surprised. Now you say maybe, oh, it's sentimental, how do you know, and this and that. And when there's a certain message being communicated more than just from their words, but to a degree. And I know, how long she's been a devotee and all that, but she was just like, my God. But it's really nice to see that. So if we could associate with such... Sankarshan, you have... Sankarshan has...
Do you always have to ask for specific guidance, or you can just hearing somebody speak with this, and you might be kind of biased or if I just like kind of like just let you speak and then reveal itself?
Devotees, disciples of Srila Prabhupada would say that, oh, I was in the room and it felt like Prabhupada was speaking to me. Or sometimes devotees have that experience in classes and so on. So that's there. But asking is very important. If we don't ask, then yeah, we won't really get answers. I mean, largely. Of course, there's a process of prayer. There's a process of different. Yeah, there's praying. There's hearing classes. There's reading, introspection, all these different things. But asking is very important. To ask questions, like in the Bhagavatam, it's full of that. It's just like a bunch of conversations between each other, dialogue in which people are asking questions and getting answers. Like I spent a little time with Mukunda Datta Prabhu in Vrindavan, luckily. It was nice spending some time with him. His wife, Sri Murti, she invited me to their home, for lunch prasadam, and then after prasadam I was speaking with Mukunda Datta. So based on what particular questions I was asking, he was answering. So yeah, part of discussing Srimad Bhagavatam is asking questions for clarity. So it's good to ask. That's what Rupa Goswami says, right? Dadati pratigrinati guyamakati prichati bhungte bojayate chaiva shadvidam priti lakshanam. That should reveal your mind. Which doesn't mean just unload problems on people. That might be there. But reveal mind means asking questions also. Does anybody have any other chat?
Hare Krishna. What do you personally think are some of the most important things?
Is this being recorded? I'm just joking.
Oh,
I'm just joking.
I think so. I think it is.
It's being recorded.
Tapas. What do you think are the most important things when finding a guru, personally, to you?
Kripamoy Prabhu wrote a book. He wrote many books. He's a devotee in London. He's a Prabhupada disciple. But one book he wrote is he gave many courses on the acceptance of Guru. I think ISKCON disciple courses throughout the years, and he wrote a book based on all the questions people have asked him over the years about finding a guru and all that. So you could read that book, but I mean, if you ask me, I share the same. I share the same opinion or the same conviction that's given in the Bhagavatam. And when Srila Prabhupada mentioned Guru, he would quote this verse quite often, the one that was quoted today in the purport. Tadvigartam sagurum eva bigachet. So can someone look that up so we can get the translation? The exact translation. Well, yeah, it's a verse that's mentioned in the purport of text 56 today, 7:15:56. All right, you want to read it?
To understand things properly, one must humbly approach, with firewood in his hand, a spiritual master who is learned in the Vedas and firmly devoted to the absolute truth. That's Samit Pani means. But in a humble mood, that's symbolic of Hanuman.
Yeah, so he's fixed in devotion to the absolute truth, and he's knowledgeable, and he's detached. It's very important. Guru has to be detached from the material existence, material world, and have knowledge and and yeah, be a devotee, be an advanced devotee. So those are the main things. A guru knows the scripture, lives by the tenets of the scripture, and teaches it for others, to others. So, of course, it's a big topic. We're having an ISKCON disciple course again on January, the first Sunday of January. I know you already took it, but you're welcome to take it again. Yeah, we're starting. Yeah. Having started.
If I could make one
Yes.
comment. So your question was, what should one do when you find a guru?
No,
Which one look for?
what he personally thinks are the most important things when trying to find it.
Oh, when trying to find a guru. Okay.
I mean, there's other, things besides maybe shastra, like the availability of the guru or things like that.
Do you remember what the disciples course says about that?
Availability?
Yeah, the other factors.
Specifically? Oh, yeah, I was just asking just in general for people who are listening, or devotees who are listening.
Does anybody have any thoughts about that?
I have some thoughts.
Okay, could pass the mic to him.
You can toss it to me. As far as I remember, I think in the disciples course, it emphasizes qualifications of knowing Shastra and having controlled senses. Yeah, I think the disciples course recommends that we should have faith, study the person, have faith that this person has controlled senses, isn't indulgent. And there are various different ways we can be indulgent in anger and eating and various things. Obviously, sexual indulgence would be an obvious one. But yeah, Upadeshamrita. Yeah. So it emphasizes that, having controlled senses, emphasizes knowing Shastra. And then I thought it touched on how there's a tendency to choose a guru based on more superficial customs, such as this is someone who has initiated other people in my family, or my friends, or people in my area. And so that can be a more dangerous way of going about it, because maybe this person's might be in my area, which they aren't saying more available, because there's something there. But let's say the most available person is actually not as qualified in the other areas. So the person most available to me, who maybe doesn't have any disciples, has like one disciple, something, but maybe doesn't know Shastra as well, then that wouldn't seem to be like, the best option. It's just like has that one thing going for it. So that's what was coming to mind. I think that was kind of anticipated in that disciples course. And I think there was some more, but that's one thing that came to mind.
Yeah. I mean, like traditionally speaking, when gurus would initiate people, they just travel through places and initiate people, and sometimes you never see them again. I know it sounds kind of weird, but there wasn't much communication, at least we could say. And within ISKCON, we see the dynamics that go on nowadays, that a lot of the times a person may see the guru once a year, twice a year. They're living in different places in the world. So some devotees, they think it's a really bad idea, this particular system, and they are proposing more of a local system in which there are local gurus who initiate devotees. And in this way, you get to see your guru very often, because you're living in the same place, and there's more chance of, say, guidance or relationship. Which you could say, it seems to make sense. But practically speaking, both systems are fine. I mean, if you look at Srila Prabhupada, how much was he guiding personally his disciples? of course, he was dealing a lot with the leaders, but with a lot of the devotees, a lot of his disciples, they were taking guidance from senior leaders, the temple presidents, the sannyasis, GBC, whoever, senior devotees. So.
Well, I also just wanted to clarify. I also didn't want to dismiss that consideration about availability. Even in the Disciples Course, I don't know if it came up in the actual reading material or if just people asked about it when taking the course, but some asked about, well, is it wrong for me to consider the person's sense of humor? Not like, are they funny or not, but like, can we understand each other? And then maybe better would be, like they have a similar background. We have similar backgrounds, so it's kind of easier for them to understand what I'm saying, what I'm thinking when I'm saying something. So these considerations. So there are other factors which may be strengths or weakness. Yeah, maybe strengths in a guru-disciple relationship. But I was perhaps particularly wary because Chad was mentioning like what's like the most important or what's like the main one you would look for personally, and then one possibility like offered was maybe availability. And so if someone was considering availability on like the top, like what's like that's the main one, I'd be concerned because availability certainly should never be the top priority when I'm looking for a guru. The main thing I'm looking for, the main criteria, the main filter. It may be there, but it should never be before or really competing with knowledge of Shastra, control of senses, respect for their own guru and parampara and so on. Yeah.
Yeah.
But these other things, that may help.
I was just asking about some other things.
All right, any other last? You have something to say? All right, Krishna. All right, Granted Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.